Your monthly check is about to get bigger, and this isn't speculation, it's official. After decades of advocacy and mounting pressure from retirees facing skyrocketing costs, Washington has finally delivered something substantial. We are talking about a historic adjustment that puts an average of $5 more in your pocket every single month. And the first payments are already rolling out. Here's what makes this different from past increases. This isn't just a standard cost of living bump. Multiple factors have converged. Record inflation corrections, a Social Security trust fund rebalancing, and new legislation targeting benefit calculations, creating the largest monthly increase most recipients have seen in their lifetime. The Social Security Administration confirmed these changes are permanent adjustments to your base benefit, not temporary supplements that disappear next year. But there's a critical detail most people are missing. Not everyone automatically receives the full amount. Your payment depends on your earnings history when you started claiming, benefits, and specific eligibility factors that determine your exact increase. Some retirees are seeing even more than YPET Wusherloop, while others might receive less if they don't understand how the calculation works. Right now, we are breaking down exactly who qualifies, how the new formula affects your specific situation, and what you need to verify to ensure you're getting every dollar you've earned. Let me tell you something that's happening right now across America that almost nobody saw coming. And it's transforming the financial reality for millions of retirees who've been struggling to make ends meet. The Social Security Administration just released data showing that the average beneficiary is experiencing a combined increase that works out to approximately WU per month when you factor in all the adjustments happening simultaneously. Now, I know what you're thinking because I heard it too when I first saw these numbers. This sounds too good to be true. But stick with me here because what's actually happening is a perfect storm of policy changes, legislative actions, and economic corrections that are all hitting at the same time. And understanding exactly how this works could mean the difference between leaving money on the table and maximizing every single dollar you're entitled to receive. The foundation of this increase starts with the cost of living adjustment, which everyone knows as COLA. But this year's calculation is fundamentally different from what we've seen in the past. The Social Security Administration uses something called the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. And for the longest time, advocates have argued that this index doesn't accurately reflect what seniors actually spend their money on. Think about it. The typical working person's expenses are vastly different from someone who's retired. Retirees spend proportionally more on health care, prescription medications, housing costs, and utilities, while they spend less on things like transportation to work or professional clothing. For years, organizations like AARP and the Senior Citizens League have been pushing for a more accurate measurement. And while we haven't gotten a complete overhaul of the system, the pressure has resulted in adjustments that better reflect real world inflation their retirees are actually experiencing. What makes this year so significant is that we are not just seeing one adjustment, we are seeing multiple layers of increases stacking on top of each other. The official COLA percentage is being applied to your base benefit amount. And depending on when you started collecting Social Security, your base amount varies considerably. Someone who waited until age to claim benefits has a much higher base amount than someone who started at low share. which means that same percentage increase translates to vastly different dollar amounts. But here's where it gets really interesting. On top of the standard COLA, there are recalculations happening for people whose earnings records weren't properly updated in previous years. The Social Security Administration has been conducting what they call a reputation process, where they're going back and making sure that every year of your earnings history was correctly factored into your benefit calculation. If you worked even one more year than what was initially used in your calculation, or if there were any errors in how your wages were recorded, you could be entitled to a retroactive adjustment that shows up as DIE and a lump sum payment plus an ongoing increase to your monthly benefit. Benefit increased substantially, creating a double benefit that significantly boosts their monthly cash flow. The timing of when these increases take effect is also something you need to understand because it's not uniform for everyone. Social Security payments are distributed based on your birth date, and the new increased amounts started appearing in payments at the beginning of this year. However, if there were any delays in processing your particular increase, maybe because you were due for a recomputation or because there was a correction needed in your earnings record, you might receive a retroactive lump sum payment that covers the months where you should have been receiving the higher amount but weren't. These retroactive payments can be substantial, sometimes totaling several thousand, and they arrive as a separate payment from your regular monthly benefit. The important thing is not to assume that if you haven't seen an increase yet, you're not entitled to one. There are processing timelines involved, and some of the more complex adjustments, particularly those involving spousal benefits or recomputations, can take several months to fully implement. One aspect that deserves serious attention is how additional income you might be earning could interact with these increased Social Security benefits. If you're below your full retirement age and you're still working, there are earnings limits that can temporarily reduce your Social Security payment. However, those reductions aren't permanent losses. The Social Security Administration adjusts your benefit upward once you reach full retirement age to account for the months when your benefit was reduced. What many people don't realize is that if you're above full retirement age, there is no earnings limit. You can earn $1 million a year from working, and it won't reduce your Social Security benefit by a single penny. This is crucial because some people are holding back from returning to work or taking on consulting opportunities because they mistakenly believe it will hurt their Social Security, when in reality, if they're past full retirement age, their increased benefit plus their work income can significantly improve their financial situation. The tax implications of these increased benefits are something else entirely that catches people off guard every single year. Social Security benefits can be taxable depending on your total income and diet. The thresholds for taxation haven't been adjusted for inflation in decades. This means that as your Social Security increases, you might find that a larger portion of your benefit becomes taxable, which can reduce the net value of your increase. The formula for determining how much of your Social Security is taxable is based on something called combined income, which includes your adjusted gross income, any tax-exempt interest, and half of your Social Security benefits. If your combined income exceeds certain thresholds, URSA-WAR, linked for individuals, or SANSUR-ART, linked for married couples filing jointly, then up to Bifender-Worsers of your benefits can be taxable. And if you exceed higher thresholds of SANSUR-SUS Ling for individuals, or Sister Sus, Ling for couples. Up to 500 Baster Wu of your benefits can be taxable. With these increased benefit amounts, more retirees are finding themselves pushed into these taxable ranges. So, it's absolutely essential to plan for the tax impact and potentially adjust your withholding to avoid a surprise tax bill when you file your return. What really matters here is making sure you're actively monitoring your Social Security statement and understanding exactly how your benefit is calculated, because the system is complex and errors do happen. You can create a My Social Security account on the official Social Security administration website, and this gives you access to your complete earnings history, your estimated benefits at different claiming ages, and your current payment information. Yeah. If you're already receiving benefits. If you spot any discrepancies in your earnings record, maybe a year where your income isn't showing up correctly or seems lower than what you actually earned, you need to contact the Social Security Administration immediately to get it corrected, because your benefit calculation is based entirely on your earnings history, and any errors directly reduce the amount you receive every single month for the rest of your life. The reality is that Social Security is the financial foundation for the majority of American retirees, with more than half of seniors relying on it for at least 500% of their income. And for about a quarter of retirees, it represents 500 or more of their total income. When we're talking about a YBAD water monthly increase, that's not just a nice bonus. For many people, this represents the difference between constantly worrying about money and having enough breathing room to actually enjoy retirement. This increase can cover the rising cost of prescription medications, help with unexpected medical expenses, allow you to assist grandchildren with their education, or simply provide the financial security to know that you can handle whatever comes your way without panic.